Shalom and greetings, everybody. Brother Nicholas James Vanderlane here. Victory for the people of Israel from by the narrow path. The narrow path is the 10 Commandments. It's the plummet of Zerubbabel. It is the 28th day of the second month on Elohim, Zadok, Priest, Enoch, Dead Sea Scroll, Solar Calendar, May 17th, 2019. This video is being broadcasted from Jerusalem, Israel. This video is about a major prophecy that was fulfilled just 2 weeks ago. It went unnoticed by everybody. I just saw this came up in my news feed. I'm a little bit late to the party, but I believe I'll give the interpretation by the Ruach HaKodesh of this prophecy here that was fulfilled. Danon fulfilled Ezekiel 33 at the United Nations, I believe on, this was probably April 29th, 2019. So here's a screenshot of it, and we're going to go ahead and discuss it. But basically what happened was, here he is at the United Nations claiming the biblical right for the land of Israel, pulling out the Torah right here and making this claim. This is a screenshot of a title that I pulled. This is the deed to our land, says Danon at the United Nations. And this event happened April 29th, 2019. This was the first day that Noah was on the ark and he was shut after he was being shut in. But what I want to share with you something is here is the scripture. Follow along with me and then we're going to go ahead and watch the clip. Ezekiel 33 verses 23 to 24. Yeah, you're saying, well, Ezekiel 33, that's the chapter about the Watchman. You're right. But everybody's looking out for this rapture thing, but nobody is interpreting what is going on. All right? And I have more interpretations of Ezekiel 33 for everybody out there if you're looking for what the things are. So Ezekiel 33 verse 23 to 24. Then the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, this is speaking to Ezekiel, they that inhabit those wastes of the land of Israel speak, saying, Abraham was one, and he inherited the land, but we are many, maybe like 15 million, many, right? The land is given to us for an inheritance. Look, this is the deed to our land, he says. He says that they are many, 15 million people many. And he said Abraham was one, and they, like as if they are one. Now, what I want to say something is Abraham's descendants would be as the sand of the sea. Is 15 million people as many number as the sand in the sea? Of course not. California has 50 million people. Okay? 15 million people is nothing. But they claim that they're of the Abraham, and they claim that they are many, and they claim that this land was given to them for an inheritance. So let's go ahead and watch the video. Okay?
To you, the four pillars that prove the case for Jewish ownership of the land of Israel. The first pillar is the Bible. The Jewish people's rightful ownership of Eretz Israel, the land of Israel, is well documented throughout the Old Testament and beyond. The second pillar is history. The Jewish claim to the land of Israel is confirmed time and again, not just with Jewish history, but with the history of the world. The third pillar is a legal claim. Our rights to the land are codified in international law, including in the documents that founded this very body. And the fourth pillar is the pursuit of international peace and security. A stronger and safer Israel means a stronger and safer world. It is through these four pillars, Mr. President, that I will provide you with the answers to your questions. Let us discuss our first pillar of proof, the Bible. The Jewish people's right to the land of Israel is mentioned over a dozen times in the Tanakh.
Okay, so he's claiming here that through the Bible, that's their right to this land, that this land belongs to them.
The Hebrew Bible, which includes the Torah, the Old Testament, the prophets, and the writings. In the book of Genesis, the very first book of the Old Testament, God says to Abraham, and I will read that in Hebrew. והקמתי את בריתי ביני ובינך ובין זרעך אחריך לדורותם לברית עולם, להיות לך לאלוהים ולזרעך אחריך, ונתתי לך ולזרעך אחריך את ארץ מגוריך, את כל ארץ כנען, לאחוזת עולם, והייתי להם לאלוהים. And I will now read the translation in English. And I will establish my covenant between me and you and your descendants after you.
Okay, so he's saying Abraham was one right here. This is speaking of Abraham.
Throughout their generations for an everlasting covenant. And I will give to you and to your descendants after you all the land of Canaan for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. This is the deed to our land. The Exodus from Egypt, to receiving the Torah on Mount Sinai, and to the realization of God's covenant in the Holy Land of Israel, the Bible paints a consistent picture. The entire history of our people and our connection to Eretz Israel begins right here. It is not just the Hebrew Bible or the 15 million Jews worldwide.
Okay, there you just heard it. He just said there's more than 15 million Jews worldwide. We are many. So what you guys just saw, brothers and sisters, is you saw fulfillment of Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 24. Okay, they that inhabit those wastes of the land of Israel. So the people that have been in here since 1948, they're inhabiting the wastelands of Israel. They speak, saying, Abraham was one, and he inherited the land. That's what Danny just said. But we are many, 15 million, he says, and the land is given to us for an inheritance. And he pulls out the Bible. Okay? So I have a background in anthropology. And when I come out here, I've been out here to Israel for at least like the last year and a half now with my family. Okay? Every time we come, there's such a genetic plethora of different people, okay, that all claim Jewish heritage living, calling themselves Jews and being Jewish. When you look at the DNA makeup of these different peoples, the genetic makeup, they look so different. Now, you can't say they're all 12 tribes or all these different peoples with all these different Y haplogroups. It doesn't happen. I'm not buying it. That's saying you're Jewish and being an Israelite. It's like saying you're an American. What does that mean? I'm an American. Well, you have America is a melting pot. Same with what the Jewish people are. When you come here to this land, you have dark-skinned Jews like Danny. You have really light, fair-skinned Jews like this lady here. Fair-skinned Jews with darker hair like this lady here. There's so many different colors and types of people who claim Jewish heritage, okay? They've inherited what I believe are lies. Now, are there really genetic Israelites here in the land? Yes, there are. Is there really genetic Judahites in the land? Yes, they are. And it will be Elijah, the end-time Elijah's job to restore Israel. So when that happens, then we'll actually know exactly who Israelites are. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and take a look at Ezekiel 33. Because everybody on YouTube wants to be a watchman. They all claim to be Israel's watchman. This is the message of the watchman. It's to turn from your wickedness and to do righteousness. And if the righteousness turns from their wickedness, or from their righteousness and practices wickedness, to them, it's wickedness. So what I want to say is, how do we turn from our wickedness? Well, we turn to the 10 commandments, okay? So that is how we turn for the wicked out there. They turn from their wickedness is to the 10 commandments. For the righteous, it's continuing to live by the 10 commandments. So the explanation, what we just witnessed, was the number one reason for the explanation of Jerusalem's fall. And it came to pass in the 12th year of our captivity, in the 10th month of the 5th day of the month, that one that had escaped out of Jerusalem came unto me, saying, the city is smitten. Now the hand of Yahweh was upon me in the evening, afore that was escaped came, and had opened my mouth until he came to me in the morning, and my mouth was opened, and I was no more dumb. Then the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, they that inhabit those wastes of the land of Israel speak, saying, Abraham was one, and he inherited the land, but we are many. The land is given to us for inheritance. So, that is like what's going to bring what? Jerusalem's fall. Wherefore say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh Elohim, you eat with the blood. And I proved how you eat with the blood to this day. The whole world that eats flesh of animals and of fowl eat the blood, unless you boil out the myoglobin. You seethe out the myoglobin. The only biblical way to eat flesh of beast or bird is to seethe out the myoglobin out by boiling the flesh. The only time roasted flesh is permissible is during the Passover. So, eating the blood is a grave sin, and that's the first thing. He said, you eat with the blood. Then he says, you lift up your eyes toward your idols, okay? Now, Everybody goes, oh, the Catholics are idols because they have pictures of Mary, or their interpretation of Mary, or their interpretation of Jesus, and they worship and do these things, which is true. It's idolatry. Well, guess what? You come around Jerusalem, you will see pictures of one of their famous rabbis that died, that they're waiting to come back because they believe he's the Messiah. It's like the same thing as what you see in pagan Christianity. Okay, they all have their idols, their rabbis. Okay, that they worship, right? And you shed blood, and shall ye possess the land? So they shed blood. We'll talk about how they shed blood. Ye stand upon your sword. So how do you stand upon your sword? You come here, they all have guns, they all have weapons. You see what's going on in Gaza. At the security fence, Gaza, the people in Gaza have rocks and stones, and they're down there, they're sniping them with sniper rifles and shooting them down. Okay? So you stand on your sword. This is what happens. You work abomination. Okay? You defile everyone his neighbor's wife. How can you do that? You can do it physically, but you also can do it by thinking lustful thoughts about a married woman like that. And shall ye possess the land? Say thou thus unto them, thus saith Yahweh Elohim, as I live, surely that they that are in the wastes, the wasteland of Israel, okay, shall fall by the sword, and him that is in the open field will I give to the beasts to be devoured. And they that be in the forts and in the caves shall die of the pestilence. And I will lay the land most desolate. Remember? I think Yahushua prophesied, right, when he was on the Mount of Olives, and he said that the temple was going to be totally destroyed. He said wars and rumors of wars, and then I believe he prophesied of desolations until the end. Okay? So, he's saying he's going to lay the land most desolate. When? When this happens. Okay? And the pomp of her strength shall cease. Okay? They have a lot of strength here in Israel, no doubt about it. And the mountains of Israel shall be desolate, and none shall pass through. And they shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have laid the land most desolate, because of all their abominations which they have committed. And also, thou son of man, the children of thy people are still talking against thee by the walls and in the doors of the house, and speak to one another, every one his brother, saying, Come, I pray you, and hear what the word that cometh forth from Yahweh. And they come to see thee. They come to watch your videos as the people cometh, and they sit before thee as my people, and they hear thy words, but they will not do them, for with their mouth they show much love, but their heart go after covetousness. And lo, thou art to them a lovely song. That's that rapture love song, see? That rapture love song, people, that I make my videos on, is to get to preach to you guys the 10 Commandments, to return to the path of Yahweh Elohim. But everybody wants that because that's the pleasant song. Everybody thinks, oh, Jesus, 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 but you've been deceived by your own selves because you're following pagan Christianity and you won't do the works worthy of repentance, which is come out of Babylon and keep the commandments of the Most High El. Yahusha's own 10 commandments, plus the one commandment to love the brethren. One that hath a pleasant voice and can play well on an instrument. Well, that's the rapture love song, people. For they hear thy words regarding the preaching of the 10 commandments, but they do not do them. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it shall come to pass, and they will know that a prophet hath been among them. So, brothers and sisters, this is the Ezekiel 33 Watchman. So let's go ahead and take a look at other prophecies here of the Ezekiel 33 Watchman. These other videos that I've made, okay? Right here, okay, Danon made his claims, and here is the high priest of Israel to this day burning pallets. And I did a video exposing him burning pallets for an offering to Yahweh the Most High El. Burning trash on what they call an altar to the Most High. This was not a reenactment. This was a false sacrifice or dedication of the altar, and it was real, but it was just not according to Yahweh's Elohim standards. Here's a video I did on the sin of idolatry, okay? Jewish idolatry, idolizing, just like the Christians idolize their idea of that they make up of Jesus in their own mind. They make up their own Messiah. They take away the traits of Yahusha, and they create their own religion in their own mind. It's creating their own religion, their own idols. Same thing here. And then the warning to Israel, the sin of eating blood. And I went on over an hour-long video explaining perfectly out of the Scriptures that there's no such thing as roasted flesh. Everybody's eating out of flesh pots from seethed meat. And Christians and everybody else out there, Christians are instructed not to eat the blood. You're supposed to boil the flesh, the soul, out of the animal and not eat the soul, which is the blood, with the flesh. Okay? So that is correct, and this is how we're supposed to do it. So this is part of the Ezekiel 33 Watchman here message. And regarding exposing the impostor high priest of Israel, it says at the end of Zechariah chapter 14, I believe, that there are Canaanites in the house of Yahweh Elohim. So the house of Yahweh Elohim is the temple. So they must be claiming to be priests. So according to Zechariah 14, the modern priests right here are possibly are genetic descendants of the Canaanites. Okay? So there were righteous Canaanites, okay, people. Caleb, I believe, was a righteous Canaanite, and he got to oversee Judah until like 8 generations passed, and then Judah got their own representation back. But because of what happened about Judah and Tamar, that's kind of what happened there. So I'm leaving you guys with this. Ezekiel 33:24 has been fulfilled on April 29, 2019 by Danon at the United Nations. Again, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, they that inhabit those wastes of the land of Israel speak, saying, Abraham was one, and he inherited the land, but we are many, 15 million. As he said, the land is given us for inheritance. I hope everyone, Jew and Gentile, Jewish person, Israelite, natural-born Israelite, if you don't know who you are, we'll find out when Eliyahu discerns that and restores Israel. And lastly, all peoples out there, we are called to turn to Yahweh Elohim and keep the commandments. Fear Elohim. When you fear Elohim, then you can love Elohim, and then you can reverence Elohim. But it starts with fear. Yahusha said, fear not man that could kill your body, but fear Elohim who could destroy both your body and soul in Gehenna, the place of fire. It says that it's a fearful thing to fall in the hands of the living Elohim. Okay? And he's like a consuming fire. And what I want to share with you all out there is Yahusha said, he taught, he who has been forgiven much loves much. And he said, if you love me, keep my commandments. It's that simple. Which commandments? The 10 commandments. The first 4 commandments is how we love Elohim, and the Sabbath is of those first 4. Keeping that day holy and set apart. It's already holy and set apart. We have to keep it holy and set apart. The next 6 commandments is how we love man. Okay? And those are, so the greatest commandment, love Yahweh Elohim with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. That's the first 4. Love your neighbor as yourself. That's the next 6. And Yahusha said on those 2 commandments, the 2 greatest commandments, which is a summary of the 10, hangs all the law and the prophets. Everything is fulfilled in that. We're supposed to return to this. Return to the Sabbath, Christians out there. Return to the narrow, straight path. So, cry out to Elohim, to Yahweh, through the name of his son Yahusha. You're only saved by faith, and if you're justified by faith, then your works will follow you, and the works are turning from sin and keeping his 10 commandments, plus the commandment to love the brethren. So, again, I'm signing off here from Jerusalem, Israel, and shalom to you who receive this message and fear Elohim and do the works that are worthy of repentance, which is keeping the commandments of the Most High El. Shalom.